school today. What are you trying to bring attention to?
Well, we came here today specifically because we are announcing that we're bringing forth legislation that will help charter schools. It'll help us replicate good, high-performing charter schools, make it easier for charter schools to start up, make it easier for charter schools to provide best practices, which will help surrounding schools. So specifically today, Mr. Messer and I wanted to make that announcement for you folks. And we came here because this school has a fantastic reputation. We think that when you've got a school that has about 450 or so students, and you have 1,000 kids waiting to get in, boy, that sends a signal that is absolutely can't miss it.
Is this legislation different from something you've offered before in this matter?
What a great question.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is a solid bipartisan legislation. Obviously, the Republicans on the committee are supported, but very importantly, Mr. George Miller, who is the senior Democrat on the committee, is a co-sponsor. So we're bringing this forward as bipartisan legislation. It's very similar to a bill that we had in the last Congress that passed with overwhelming bipartisan support. The vote was something like 365 or so to 54, a number like that, just enormously bipartisan. Unfortunately, our friends in the Senate wouldn't bring it up. We're more optimistic this time that they will, if we pass it with those kind of numbers again, and I'm hopeful that we will, that the Senate will feel the need to do this, because the problem is that we can't hold all these families hostage just because we can't get the basic legislation to replace No Child Left Behind passed. We passed that in the House. Senate has been unwilling or unable to do it. And while we're waiting for them to do that, I thought it was important, Mr. Messer, Mr. Miller, to pull this charter school legislation piece out of the bill and bring it up as standalone legislation so that more families have an opportunity for their kids to have success.
Yeah, I would just say every year the charter school movement gains more momentum in America because every year thousands more parents have their kids in charter schools. The problem is it's not happening fast enough. This 1,000 student waiting list here at the Global Academy is the kind of waiting list you see all across America. We believe it's the parents of America that create a better environment for this to potentially be heard in the Senate.
Do you have any indication that kind of parsing this will give it a shot to stand alone, make it through not only the House but the Senate?
Yeah, I think so. As I said, it was very, very bipartisan in the last Congress, passed with a huge, overwhelming majority, and that's important. But I think, as Luke said, you have now examples of successful charter schools across the country that are giving hope where families didn't have hope before. There are over 6,000 charter schools in America now. It is growing, but it's growing slowly. We talked about the waiting list here of 1,000 kids waiting to get in. Nationally, it's almost 1 million kids are waiting to get in. And I think that Republicans and Democrats, House and Senate, want to be responsible for doing something to help those families. And so I am increasingly optimistic. I'm very, very happy that this is a bipartisan bill, that George Miller and I are co-sponsoring this along with others. And so I am hopeful that we can get this done.
Thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate it.